Hello, YouTube. It is Larson Hicks, and I am driving with my son. Micah, you want to point the camera at yourself, buddy?
Hello.
We're going to get his toe fixed. He broke his toe this week, yes, as you can see there. So anyway, I realize I haven't recorded a video in a couple days, and so I feel bad about that, and I've got some time to kill while we're driving to his surgery that we're running late for. So I figured I'd record a video, and today's video I thought I'd talk about the difference between starting a business and running a business, or another way to put it is the difference between a startup and a business. Okay, so the basic point I'm trying to make here, and this isn't an original thought, I'm stealing a lot of this from Stephen Blank. I think one of the first books he wrote that I read was 4 Steps to the Epiphany, but he's written a bunch of stuff since then, like the Startup Owner's Manual, and I'm sure a bunch of other things, but Stephen Blank really helped on this. And his contention, which I think is totally true, is that a business, a functioning business, is a different entity altogether from a startup. A startup is a unique type of organization, and it's typically it's a temporary type of organization that exists to discover a business. So a business exists to execute a business plan or a business model, whereas a startup exists to discover a business plan or a business model. And those are two nuances that I think people don't appreciate. And one of the things that Blank talks a lot about is how an MBA really trains you in executing a business. It trains you in creating a business plan. It trains you in like Lean Six Sigma and management and discovering efficiencies and things like that. But they don't tend to focus on discovering a business, which is a different venture altogether. And so I'll talk a little bit about what I mean by discovering a business. What you're looking for, what you're trying to do when you're starting a business, is you're trying to find a problem that people are willing to pay to solve, and your solution they're willing to pay for, right? So you're trying to find a way to solve a problem that people have in a way that is compelling enough, adds enough value that people are willing to pay for it. And so one of the ways that you talk about it is you're discovering product market fit. And so you have a solution that's looking for a problem, or you have a problem but you don't have a solution. And the startup process of a business is really the process of testing different hypotheses, and being relentless and being very honest with yourself about your idea that you had not being 100% accurate. And I think this is the problem that a lot of people make. And the traditional Blank kind of talks about the traditional business. What way that you start a business is you have a hypothesis. You go out and raise a bunch of money from investors. You create a business plan, which is really an exercise in making stuff up. He refers to that term MSU all the time, making stuff up, except he doesn't use the word stuff. And that's really all a business plan is in a business that it doesn't exist yet. So you're creating a business plan where you're just pulling a bunch of numbers out of the air. You're obviously trying to find evidence to justify the numbers that are plausible, but the reality is that you're just trying to justify asking someone for a bunch of money by showing that we think if we do all these things right, we're going to make money. And you hear this all the time. It's like, if we can just capture 1% of this market, this total approachable market is huge, and if we can just capture 1%, then we're going to be millionaires. The problem is that you don't know yet until you get out there and start trying to sell it, whether or not it's worth anything. And so what a lot of kind of the old school way of starting a business is like, you have an idea, you make up a business plan, you go raise a bunch of money, you start making your product, you fill up a whole factory full of products that you've manufactured, and then you fire up a sales team and you take it to market. And those first phone calls, or those first visits with a customer where you're trying to sell the product, is the first time you're getting any feedback from the marketplace. And that seems like, Blank argues, an awful way, a great way to lose a lot of money. It's an awful way to build a profitable business. And so what he encouraged people to do is to create what he calls a minimum viable product, which is what's the bare bones minimum set of features that are necessary to get people to pay you money, and try to make a bunch of prototypes and take them to market and get as much market feedback as you can in that process of discovering a niche, and eventually you will discover something. You'll make tweaks and changes, and you'll eventually find a product that fits a particular market, and then you can bring on some investment and scale it up and go to market in a bigger way. So anyway, that's kind of the basic distinction between a startup and the process of discovering a business versus the process of executing a business. And I think a lot of startups, the important thing to take away is that if you are thinking about starting a business, you want to start a business, but you're starting with a business plan, it's really it's an exercise in MSU. It's an exercise in making stuff up. And if it works for you to be able to raise money by making stuff up, then sure, go for it. But also just be honest with yourself about the fact that whatever your theory is right now is probably wrong, and you're probably going to make a lot of pivots between now and when the company is actually profitable. And if you're and this is the mistake that a lot of people make, is they raise a bunch of money based on a very particular business plan or business idea, and an investor is literally invested in the idea, and these founders, these people that are starting these businesses who've taken a bunch of money from an investor who they promised they would execute a particular plan, now feel obligated to stick with that plan, even if they've gone to the market and realized nobody wants this. We've got the wrong idea, we've got the wrong solution, but they've sold an investor on a particular idea and a particular business plan, and now they feel dumb about going back on that plan. So I would just encourage, if you're somebody who's thinking about starting a business, start with getting market feedback. Start with actually trying to get people to buy something from you. Hey, if you had the money right now, would you buy this product from me? Why would you or wouldn't you? And even better, here, I've got it right here. Do you want it? Because I think what a lot of people do is they get this like feedback. They do this very unscientific sort of asking friends and family for feedback on their idea, and they're not really getting true feedback. You either get family and friends who think everything is great and, oh my gosh, it's great, it's going to be amazing, you're going to be great, or you get the naysaying family, who nothing you do is good, and they don't know the market, they're just popping off. And so it takes this particular kind of skill and kind of thick skin, but also humility for a successful entrepreneur to be able to go out and very intentionally listen to the market, and have the discipline of going out and validating their hypotheses, before overcommitting to a particular idea. So I'll stop there. There's a lot more, obviously, that I'd love to say and talk about, but we'll do it in another video. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.